Hello, welcome or welcome back. I am Refab Fashion. I'm a part-time reseller on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari, and I've been doing it about 3 years part-time as a business. Before that, I would sell my own things from time to time, so I'd been on the platforms for a while before then. But once I really ramped up, I have about 500 active listings in my stores. I really find that having a spreadsheet to keep track of everything is useful just for the day to day management of things, but also really helpful come tax time. So I want to walk you through my spreadsheet. I made this for myself. There's a couple of equations in here, but as you'll see, it's just some headers. I put the filter option, the sorting and filtering option on all of the columns, and but there's no kind of colors and bells and whistles. This is more a little bit for some analytics so I can judge how I'm doing with my business, but also really just to track the numbers and track inventory, which, even on a smaller scale with 500 items active at any time, it's a lot over the course of a year. So when tax time comes around, I really rely on this tracking system to help me with my taxes. I do my own taxes right now, my Schedule C for my business. I have some other businesses, so was kind of familiar with that, but this is the only one with inventory involved. So it was a little bit of a learning curve, but hopefully, if you don't already have a spreadsheet and you have, a few items that you're tracking, maybe more than 20, this is really going to be helpful to start using a spreadsheet of some sort. So hopefully this gives you some ideas of what things to track and how it can be useful. There are other spreadsheets out there that other resellers on YouTube have created, and they have more analytics and a little bit more functionality and equations. So definitely look into that if you're looking for something a little bit more substantial. But if you already use a spreadsheet that you made, maybe there will be a couple ideas from mine that will help you with your own analytics and tracking. So I have a few tabs and I'll walk through each one. The first page is kind of the start of when I come to my spreadsheet, the inventory page. So this is everything. It's active items plus anything more that I've bought, plus things that are in my mending pile and the washing pile, or things that I just haven't gotten around to listing yet. So when I come home from a thrift trip, I start by entering columns B through E. So I'll put, this is a nice example of one trip here, all from the Goodwill recently. I definitely keep track of the brand. I make a short description, usually the size of the item, the color, if there's a print, anything else to note, the source where I got it, and then the cost. Right now, at this point, I just do an average cost of goods for the trip. So I took the $51 total from the receipt and divided by 7. And I had to sprinkle some of the change around here to get it to add up. In the beginning, the first year when I did this, I did put the actual cost of each item, and that was really helpful to me to see if I was making profit on certain brands and items. At this point, that data isn't as useful to me, just with my kind of knowledge that I've gained from doing this. So I'm not needing the analytic, and this is just much easier to enter the cost this way. The next step from here, like the things that have nothing in the SKU and nothing in date listed, I have not photographed yet. These need steaming or washing. Whereas these items with a number, I have photographed already, so they're clean, they're photographed, and I've put them in my inventory system. And I'm going to do a separate inventory video at a later time, but I do use a sequential numbering system. I buy stickers with the numbers, and each item, as it goes in and gets listed, has its own number. So this is already in my inventory. And then I have those photographs in my drafts on Vendoo. I use Vendoo, which is a cross-listing and kind of software system. They also just support drafts if you're only using one platform. There's a lot of functionality to it. But I put all my pictures in there, and then I take my time throughout the week to complete the draft, do my research, my pricing, and push the listings live. So these two I did yesterday. And so the date that I list it, I'll come to my spreadsheet here and I'll enter the date. And the only function calculation that I have on this page is the days listed calculation. So I really like this on my inventory page because then my active listings, I can see what's been there for a long time, what might need to be reconsidered, repriced. I use Vendoo to alert me for stale listings for delisting and relisting the item, but this could also function in that way. If you wanted to know, something that's been 100 days listed and still not sold, might prompt you to go and relist your item or revise your listing. And this equation is set up with this function here. So to equal sign today, parentheses bracket with nothing in it, and then minus the column F, or whatever column you have your date listed. And that'll calculate the number of days. These numbers. This is just how it goes when there's nothing in this column. It gives me this number. So I just know that means it hasn't been listed yet. Then when something sells, I copy these 5 columns from my inventory page. And these are the first columns on my sold page. So I just paste them over. And then once I do that, I come over and I look at the number. I'll pull it right from my inventory. Or if I'm not going to be pulling it right now, I pop it over in this just as a placeholder. And let's say this item sold today. I'll enter that. I enter the where sold later, like after I do my shipping, because as I said, I use this as a placeholder just so if I had maybe 3 sales and I'm going to ship later, I can, see the numbers right there, pull it and enter in the rest of the details. So let's say that this dress sold on Poshmark. I would pull the item, enter Poshmark in the where sold column. Let's say it sold for $40. On Poshmark, there's no shipping that I receive. I don't have to pay for any shipping. But let's say I did offer a shipping discount and I'm forgetting what it is to the buyer, but basically for the seller, it's a $2.02 discount that you're giving. So that's something coming out of my pocket. So I enter that in my shipping discount column. And then the platform fees. On Poshmark, it's easy. It's 20%. So I'll type 8 in there. And bring my equations down. Then it auto calculates the profit here. So this column is this long equation, basically anything I received. So the sale price of the item, and if on eBay, what I received from eBay for shipping. And then it subtracts what I might have paid for shipping if that was on eBay, what I am paying for a shipping discount, the platform fees, and then also subtracts the cost of the item. So I find this really helpful. My goal right now is to have a profit here of $20 per item to kind of be worth it for my time. Other resellers really focus on average sales price and want a $20 sale price or higher. You never know what you're paying versus sale price. So for me, the more important metric is this profit column. And it will also calculate how many days it took to sell. So it uses the date listed with what you enter for date sold. And there's more analytics you can do here, of course. The sales are really helpful to review. So you could search by brand to see, okay, all of my Ibex items. What was my kind of profit across there? Was it a quick seller? Was it a slow seller? You could also sort by platform to kind of get a sense. Am I selling more on Poshmark, on eBay? You could sort by each and take a look at the average profit, maybe where you're making more money or your higher priced items are selling. And that can help you make decisions about where to spend your time in your business. So that completes the cycle for inventory, kind of when things enter my house, getting entered on the inventory list, and then when they sell all the way through to here with all of the details of the sale. The other tabs I have a donate tab. So this is for damaged items or things that maybe were a bad buy. I've had it for a couple of years and it's just ready to move on. It's not worth taking to a Plato's Closet or something like that. So I just donate it. I'm getting zero back for it. So the important thing is to track the loss of the cost that you spent. So I like to do it on a donate page. This also helps me review, am I skipping over checking items really well for damage? Was it just a bad brand that's not selling, that sticks around for a long time? Helps me review that. Another way you could capture these losses of cost of money in or money spent on the business is you could put them as a sold, and maybe you would put the item here and put donate for where sold because you didn't sell it on a platform, and then you sold it for $0. So let's say something had cost you $5, you sold it for 0. If we bring the equations down here, it would show the -5. So that's important to track in terms of your end of year financials and also for tracking inventory. So if something was in the system and you're going to get rid of it, you can't keep it on your inventory page. You have to either put it sold for 0 or, as I do, I track on a donate tab here and remove it from my active inventory. The other tab I have, because of taxes, the tax forms, is the keep tab. I don't have anything yet on here. I basically put these same columns at the top, and anything I pull that I'm going to keep for personal use or give to friends or family, I put it here. And this is primarily because I do have a separate credit card just for my reselling business. And so because I'm spending something for myself on a thrift shopping trip where the rest of the items are for my business, I have to account for what I'm taking out. And on Schedule C for your tax form, there is a line item in your inventory section about what did you remove for personal use. So I do like to gather that and have this number here for the end of the year. And the last tab that I put here is expenses. I'm personally pretty bad at keeping up with this, but it's not super urgent, but it really helps at the end of the year for taxes again. So I like to keep track of each shopping trip, the date, where I went, the total on the receipt, and also the mileage. And at this point, I know what the round trip mileage is from home to different stores. But let's say I went out and went to 2 or 3 shops and then came home. I'll just pull up Google Maps and kind of enter in the mileage for the trip and put it there. And I do deduct mileage on my tax form. I also have a place to keep track of supplies. So these, at this point, it's just replenishing. Like on Amazon, I'll buy packing tape and poly mailers, labels, shipping labels, those sorts of things. But even in the beginning, when I bought the racks for my bins and the plastic bins and my lint rollers and my sweater shaver, that was all supplies that was helpful to have in one place so that when I did my taxes, I could summarize all of the supplies and things I bought for my business. And the new section this year for me, I started doing consignment with a few friends, and I'm making payouts to them. So I am going to be tracking here the date, who I paid out, and the total that I paid them out. I track that also on my solds page, what the item sold for and all of that. But in terms of making sure I just close the loop and have the extra tracking of what I paid out from my business account to somebody whose items I consigned, I'm going to track that there. So I hope this is helpful. It's, again, pretty basic. For me, it gets the job done. I tried to make it a little easy to just copy certain things over to my sold page. I do make mistakes. I make typos when I'm entering, but given that I'm just, 500 items, I make, some 0 sales days, some I have 2 or 3, so it's pretty manageable at that volume. I'd say if you're definitely in the thousands of active items, this might be a little too simple and prone to error for using on an everyday basis, but if you're kind of smaller scale and doing it part-time, this maybe could work for you and be a starting point, or maybe some of the equations were helpful to you. So thanks for tuning in. I hope it's helpful, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.